Welcome back to Tactical and Practical. We're back at home. We're back on the farm. And today's going to be a good episode. I'm going to share 5 reasons why I do not use cost caps as part of our media buying strategy at OG. This episode is brought to you by IntelliGems, your one-stop shop for all things profit growth and profit optimization. Whether you want to test prices or offers or progress bars or site elements or images or copy on your website, IntelliGems can do it for you. So go to intelligems.io, let them know I sent you. Their team will walk you through setting up the first couple tests, and you can start making more revenue and profit in the near future. All right, 5 reasons why I don't use cost caps. One, CAC alone is a terrible metric to judge the effectiveness of your marketing. It's incapable of telling you the whole story of how your business is performing. And I can give you a couple examples of how your cost to acquire a customer can be manipulated. You know, if I wanted to decrease our CAC, if that was my main focus, I'd do a couple things. First, I'd only advertise our cheapest watches and our cheapest products. Next, I'd cut a bunch of top of funnel ad spend that won't pay off today, but will pay off in the future, and that'll make my CAC today look better. Lastly, I might run steeper discounts, might run some BOGO offers, might get fancy with what some of our offers are to get people to convert now, but not one of those things. Although it would drive our CAC down, it would not increase our top or bottom line in the future. It is not a long-term growth strategy that's going to pay off. We might squeak out a little more profit in the short term, but long term, it's going to kill the business. So do not think it's smart to optimize just for the lowest CAC possible. I don't want the cheapest customers. I want the most valuable customers. When it comes to customer acquisition, like many things in life, I think you get what you pay for. I think there's a reason why agencies have the meme of like the $1,000 client being a pain in the ass and expecting the world, whereas the $10,000 a month client or the $50,000 a month client are the easiest to work with and just let you do your work and send the wire. And I think something similar is true in D2C. I do not want my funnel, I do not want my email list filled up with the cheapest customers we can find. I want those filled up with the most valuable customers we can find. So I don't think we should solely be focused on our cost to acquire customers as marketers. Second reason, the most successful, the biggest, and the most profitable brands in e-commerce do not have the lowest CAC. They don't even have the highest return on ad spend. The foundation of success in e-com is volume, not marketing efficiency. The most profitable brands in our industry right now are the biggest. I don't care how low your CAC is. I don't care how good your return on ad spend is. If you're only doing $11 million a year, I don't care if your CAC is $1 or your ROAS is 30. There's just not that much money. But to push to be a 9-figure brand, you can be much less efficient and take home a lot more dollars at the end of the day. So that's reason number 2. We're focused on building the biggest and most profitable business, not just the most efficient one. Number 3, judging an ad's performance based on its attributed intraday CAC is asinine. I mean, like, the dumbest way to judge how an ad is performing, but that's what you're forcing Meta to do when you run a cost cap. First of all, let's talk about the attribution part, because Facebook doesn't capture anywhere close to all of the purchases that it's actually driving. Looking at a time frame recently for us, Facebook has tracked 7,000 new customer purchases. Meanwhile, in that time, we actually had 13,000 new customer purchasers. And I can tell you 90% of our ad spend is going to Meta. I promise you we are not getting 6,000 new customer purchasers organically. It's not coming from nowhere. They're still being driven by Meta, but Meta's only picking up like 55 or 60% of the orders. So it's not even going to be accurate. And yeah, you could tweak your CAC, your cost cap to be higher, knowing that there's a halo effect. Yeah, I guess, but it seems like a lot of work. Secondly, cost caps assume that impressions are worthless and that your customer's consideration cycle is never longer than your attribution window. Facts. You can't argue your way out of that. Facebook cannot track and then cannot plan for and then cannot go after. Purchasers where the customer takes 2 weeks to think about it. And if you're selling anything of value on the internet, your customers are thinking about it for a lot longer than 2 weeks. And they might need to see a bunch of impressions and they might need to think about it. And most commonly, they need to ask their spouse about it, or they need to save up for it, or they need to wait till payday. So cost caps assume your impressions are worthless and that customers see it and buy right away, or they never do. And that's just not how humans work. All right. Number 4, I think volatility sucks in everything, but especially in business. I would rather consistent volume over somewhat predictable efficiency. Volatility sucks. And I think the big thing here is like we can plan for a higher than desired CAC. We can plan for missing our efficiency targets by 10% or 20%. There are things we can do, there are levers we can pull to make poor performance still be all right for us. But what I cannot plan for is unpredictability. I cannot plan for our ad account spending our full budget today and then spending 10% of our budget tomorrow because Facebook didn't get enough purchases to give it the confidence to keep spending. So now it's going to pull back spend and just wait for lagging purchases to attribute before it starts spending again. It's just nonsense. It's a silly way to run your business. It's going to fuck up the mood of everyone in your organization if you are riding a roller coaster every day. I would rather predictable volume of impressions, yes, of ad spend, of site visitors. And, day-to-day performance can still be volatile, but at least we know on the days where our CAC is worse than we want it to be, we fed a lot of impressions to a lot of people. We're getting good content out there into the world that people are probably going to wait until a holiday to buy. People are probably going to wait until payday to buy. But the impressions we're serving today are still doing their job. We're just not reaping the rewards yet. And again, I'd rather my team's mood be better and us not be on this roller coaster of unpredictability that I've seen when I used to run accounts with cost caps. It's no fun. All right. Number 5 is going to address the rebuttals that I know are coming to this from the cost cap cult. The rebuttal to all these points is with constant tweaking, with constant management, with a high monthly retainer, you can negate all these problems by just constantly tweaking and constantly changing the cap. But what's the point of doing that? This is my 5th and final point. The juice is just not worth the squeeze. They're going to do so much extra work fighting problems that they created. That sounds like a bad use of your marketer's time. For me, I would rather my team be solely focused on building amazing products, creating more compelling offers, doing customer research, creating content that speaks to your customers' real needs, and ultimately spend your time building a brand that people give a shit about rather than trying to hack an algorithm, rather than try to, trick Facebook into hitting the CAC you want it to. We just want to build something that people see and they like it. And that's what makes us confident to keep spending money, even if today's CAC is higher than we want it to, because what we're spending money on is proven messaging and products that we know people are going to think about, that we know people are going to have to see dozens of times and think about for a few months until they buy it. And that's okay. So that's why I don't run cost caps. I think CAC is a terrible metric to judge your marketing's efficiency on. The biggest brands, the most profitable brands, are not the most profitable because they have the lowest CAC or the highest return on ad spend. It's because they're the biggest. Judging an ad's performance based on its attributed CAC is a dumb way to judge your ad performance because attribution is not a science at all. Lastly, volatility sucks, and I think it's too much work. And I think the juice is not worth the squeeze. And I think your team's time is better spent building a great brand and great content than staring at a Meta ad account all day. So that's it for this episode of Tactical and Practical. I hope you liked it. I know some of you will hate it, but that's all right. This is one guy's opinion who is been at a brand for 4 years now and growing it a ton and is doing pretty good. So that's it. Hope you liked it. We'll see you.